So I had a thought today, a Star Wars thought. What would have happened if Qui-Gon had lived through Episode 1? Now, this is a thought experiment many people have come to over the years. And I think I came to 2 points that I haven't heard expressed before. First and foremost being that Anakin still would have fallen to the dark side, regardless of if Qui-Gon had been there. While Qui-Gon is the father figure that Anakin needed, and he would have been able to help him in ways that the rest of the Jedi just are not capable of helping because Anakin already had so many problems by the time he was brought under the Order, he still would have fallen. Second, that Qui-Gon's mere presence would have extended the Clone Wars, and that they would have lasted far longer than the 3-4 years that they actually lasted. The reason I say that is because there are two main goals that Emperor Palpatine seems to have at the beginning of the Clone Wars. One, put the Jedi in a compromising position, and two, turn Anakin to the dark side. With one, that happens just by the Jedi entering the war. As soon as the Jedi enter the war, they're in a compromised position. Order 66 is already implanted in the clones, everything is set up there. That wouldn't have changed. That was already in motion prior to the end of Episode 1. So the other thing is that Palpatine intended to turn to Anakin, and that was the whole point of the war. Everything is set up to turn Anakin to the dark side, and to get the Jedi to not realize that's what's happening. And if Qui-Gon had been there, while he may have noticed it, he would have prolonged Anakin's descent into the dark side. I don't think he could have stopped it, because Anakin would have still relied on Sheev to some degree. He would have manipulated his way in there. And then Qui-Gon, being the Padawan of Dooku, would have tried, I'm sure, to convince Dooku that this isn't a good idea, which would have put Anakin in close relation to another Sith Lord. Two people to manipulate him. In the end, Qui-Gon would have only extended the war because he would have tried to convince them to stop, and he would have tried to keep Anakin from falling, but the war wasn't going to end until Anakin fell. So Anakin would have seen Padme die in childbirth, probably turned then, perhaps, if Qui-Gon had convinced him that there was another way. Maybe she would have lived for another year or two, and Sidious would have done something else to get her killed. And maybe the children, which were the one thing that actually stopped the Empire, is the fact that Luke and Leia were alive. If Anakin had known them, Sheev would have been on the lookout thereafter for those children after Anakin fell. Qui-Gon being alive would have meant that Anakin's fall wouldn't have been redeemable because there would have been no one to redeem him.